let us drift together into the shadowed depths of the Pokémon world, where beneath the cheerful facade of friendship and adventure lies a tapestry woven with threads both mysterious and unsettling. Close your eyes now and allow your breathing to slow as we descend through layers of forgotten lore, abandoned concepts, and the darker implications that have always lurked just beyond the bright lights of Pokemon centers and the laughter of trainers. In the beginning, before the world knew of Pikachu's gentle spark or the warmth of Professor Oak's laboratory, there existed concepts and ideas that would never see the light of day. Game Freak's earliest visions for this universe contained elements that were deemed too intense, too complex, or simply too dark for the young audiences they hoped to reach. These discarded fragments remain like fossils buried in development documents, whispering of what might have been. Consider, if you will, the original concept for the Pokemon world's relationship with death. In those early design phases, the boundary between life and death was far more permeable, more haunting than what we eventually came to know. The developers initially envisioned a world where the connection between humans and Pokemon could transcend mortality itself, where the bonds formed in life might echo into something far more permanent and unsettling than simple memory. The ghost-type Pokemon we know today are merely echoes of these darker concepts. Ghastly, Haunter, and Gengar were originally intended to be far more explicitly tied to human souls, their gaseous forms representing not just supernatural entities, but the actual remnants of people who had passed on. Early design documents suggest that these Pokemon were meant to serve as a bridge between worlds, their mischievous nature masking a profound sadness that comes from being trapped between states of existence. Lavender Town, with its haunting melody that has become legendary among fans, was designed to be the focal point of these themes. The Pokemon Tower was not simply a cemetery for beloved companions, but a place where the veil between worlds grew thin. The original music, composed in a minor key with frequencies that seemed to resonate with something primal and unsettling in the human psyche, was intended to evoke not just sadness, but a genuine sense of unease about mortality itself. The stories that emerged around Lavender Town's music becoming so psychologically affecting that it caused distress in young players were, while exaggerated, rooted in a kernel of intentional design. The composers had indeed crafted something that was meant to feel otherworldly, to create an atmosphere where players would genuinely question what lay beyond death in this fictional universe. But perhaps even more fascinating are the Pokemon themselves that never made it past the conceptual stage, creatures born from the developer's willingness to explore themes that would later be deemed inappropriate. There were designs for Pokemon that fed on human emotions in ways far more parasitic than the empathic abilities we see in creatures like Gardevoir or Alakazam. These early concepts included creatures that would literally drain happiness from their surroundings, leaving behind a psychic residue of despair that could linger in locations for years. One such abandoned design was for a Pokemon that would attach itself to graveyards, feeding on the grief of mourners. Its presence would intensify feelings of loss and regret, creating a cycle where the more sorrow it consumed, the more it could generate. The developers ultimately realized that such a creature would be fundamentally at odds with the hopeful message they wanted to convey about the bonds between humans and Pokemon. The concept of Pokemon mortality itself was originally far more complex and troubling. While the games we know today treat fainting as a temporary state, early designs included permanent death as a game mechanic. Pokemon could die not just from battle damage, but from neglect, old age, or even from the psychic trauma of being separated from trainers they had bonded with deeply. This created a dynamic where the emotional investment between trainer and Pokemon carried real stakes, real consequences that could not be undone with a simple visit to a Pokemon Center. The healing machines themselves were originally conceived with a darker purpose. Rather than the cheerful, efficient devices we know, they were meant to be more ambiguous in their function. Early concept art shows medical equipment that looked more like life support systems, with Pokemon suspended in strange fluids while mechanical arms performed procedures that were never fully explained. The implication was that the line between healing and experimentation might not always be clear, that the technology used to restore Pokemon to health might come with costs that were carefully hidden from trainers. This connects to the broader theme of corporate control that runs through many of the darker interpretations of the Pokemon world. The Sylph Company, Team Rocket, and other organizations were originally envisioned as having far more sinister motivations than simple profit or power. Early storylines suggested that these groups were engaged in research that treated Pokemon not as partners or even as animals, but as resources to be exploited in ways that would fundamentally alter the nature of life itself. The Master Ball, that perfect capture device that cannot fail, was originally tied to these themes in disturbing ways. Early design notes suggest that its flawless success rate came not from superior technology, but from a willingness to override the free will of any Pokemon it encountered. The ball would not just capture, but fundamentally alter the creature's psyche, ensuring absolute obedience through methods that were deliberately left vague but clearly unethical. Regional variations and evolutionary concepts also contained darker implications in their original forms. The idea that Pokemon could adapt to different environments was initially explored through much more extreme transformations. Pokemon in polluted areas wouldn't just develop different colorations or minor ability changes, but would undergo mutations that were clearly the result of environmental damage. These creatures would serve as living reminders of humanity's impact on the natural world. Their altered forms speak into consequences that could not be easily reversed. The Pokedex entries we read today, with their occasionally unsettling descriptions of Pokemon behavior and abilities, are actually toned down versions of much more explicit content. Original entries contained detailed descriptions of predation, territorial violence, and survival behaviors that painted the Pokemon world as a place where nature operated according to much harsher rules than the sanitized version we eventually received. Kubona's tragic backstory, wearing the skull of its deceased mother, was originally part of a much larger theme about family trauma and loss that ran through multiple Pokemon lines. The developers had conceived of evolutionary chains that were triggered not by happiness or friendship, but by experiences of abandonment, betrayal, or grief. These Pokemon would carry the psychic scars of their experiences in their very biology, their evolved forms serving as permanent reminders of psychological wounds that could never fully heal. The legendary Pokemon, those powerful beings that shape the very fabric of their world, were initially conceived as far more alien and potentially hostile entities, rather than the generally benevolent guardians we know today. They were meant to be forces of nature that operated according to logic completely foreign to human understanding. Their interventions in human affairs would not necessarily be helpful, and their idea of balance might require sacrifices that humans would find unthinkable. As we sink deeper into these forgotten depths, breathing slowly and steadily, we can almost see the shadows of what might have been, the darker reflections of a world we thought we knew. These abandoned concepts and discarded ideas continue to influence the Pokemon universe in subtle ways, creating undercurrents of complexity that reward deeper examination while never quite breaking the surface of the more light-hearted adventure we were ultimately given. The night grows deeper around us, and there are still so many layers to explore, so many shadows to illuminate with the gentle light of understanding. Let your mind drift now as we prepare to descend even further into the mysteries that lie waiting in the depths of this deceptively complex universe. The relationship between humans and Pokemon in the earliest conceptual stages carried implications that would have fundamentally altered how we understand this symbiotic bond. Deep within the development archives lie traces of a world where the partnership between trainer and Pokemon was not the mutually beneficial relationship we recognize today, but something far more complex and morally ambiguous. The Pokeball technology, that simple red and white sphere we take for granted, was originally envisioned as a form of consciousness compression that would have raised profound ethical questions about the nature of Pokemon autonomy and free will. In these early concepts, captured Pokemon didn't simply rest comfortably in a pocket dimension, but existed in a state of suspended awareness that bordered on temporal imprisonment. The convenience of carrying multiple powerful creatures would have come at the cost of their continuous experience of time and space, creating a dynamic where trainers wielded not just the power of their Pokemon's abilities, but control over their very perception of existence. This technology would have been developed by ancient civilizations that understood Pokemon consciousness in ways that modern researchers could only theorize about, leaving behind artifacts and ruins that hinted at a much deeper and more troubling mastery over Pokemon minds. The legendary birds that soar through the skies of Kanto carry with them secrets that extend far beyond their elemental mastery. Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres were originally conceived as fragments of a single, primordial entity that had been shattered in some prehistoric catastrophe. Each bird represented not just a different element, but a different aspect of this original being's consciousness, forever seeking reunification while being fundamentally unable to coexist in the same space. Their eternal flight patterns across the regions were not random migrations, but a cosmic dance of approach and retreat, each bird drawn to its siblings, while being repelled by the same force that split them apart eons ago. The power plant where Zapdos makes its home was built not to harness electrical energy, but as a containment facility designed to channel and redirect the bird's overwhelming electrical output. The abandoned machinery and empty corridors speak to a project that was hastily evacuated when researchers realized they were dealing with forces far beyond their comprehension. The electromagnetic disturbances that plague the facility are not side effects of Zapdos's presence, but symptoms of a deeper instability that threatens to cascade beyond the plant's walls if the legendary Pokemon ever truly awakened to its full potential. Mewtwo's creation story, already dark in its exploration of artificial life and genetic manipulation, originally delved much deeper into the psychological trauma of engineered consciousness. The laboratory journals that survived Mewtwo's escape contained detailed observations of the creature's developing awareness, documenting not just its growing psychic abilities, but its increasingly sophisticated understanding of its own artificial nature. The researchers had inadvertently created a being capable of perceiving the fundamental wrongness of its own existence, leading to a cascade of psychological fractures that manifested as reality bending psychic phenomena. The mansion on Cinnabar Island, where Mewtwo's story began, was built upon much older foundations that predated human settlement of the island. Archaeological evidence buried beneath the modern facility suggests that the location had been used for similar experiments in the distant past, creating a pattern of hubris and catastrophe that stretched back through multiple civilizations. Each successive culture had discovered the ruins left by their predecessors and convinced themselves that they possessed the wisdom to succeed where others had failed, only to add their own layer to the geological record of ambition and disaster. The ghost type Pokemon that haunt the Pokemon Tower and other sacred sites exist in a state that challenges our understanding of life and death within the Pokemon world. These creatures are not simply Pokemon that happen to possess spectral abilities, but beings that exist in the liminal space between existence and non existence. Their presence in the physical world creates areas of temporal and spatial instability, where the normal rules of cause and effect become unreliable, and the boundary between past and present grows thin. Gengar's relationship with shadows reveals a deeper truth about the nature of consciousness itself. This Pokemon doesn't simply hide in shadows or manipulate darkness, but actually exists partially outside of normal three-dimensional space. Its ability to lower the temperature of its surroundings is not a supernatural power, but a physical consequence of its presence, drawing thermal energy from our reality into whatever dimension it partially inhabits. The laughter that echoes from empty rooms where Gengar has passed is not the Pokemon's voice, but the sound of reality itself being gently warped by its interdimensional nature. The psychic type Pokemon represent a form of evolution that transcends physical adaptation, developing capabilities that operate according to principles that our science can barely begin to comprehend. Alakazam's incredible intelligence is not simply enhanced cognitive ability, but access to information processing systems that exist outside of normal space-time. Its spoons are not mere tools for focusing psychic energy, but interfaces with these extra-dimensional computational networks, allowing it to perform calculations that would be impossible using only the neural pathways contained within its physical brain. The trade evolution phenomenon, where certain Pokemon only evolve when transferred between trainers, hints at a deeper truth about the nature of Pokemon consciousness and identity. These creatures require the psychic shock of severing and reforming trainer bonds to trigger evolutionary changes that cannot be achieved through simple growth or environmental pressure. The brief moment of disconnection during the trading process exposes them to forces and influences that exist between the spaces of human Pokemon relationships, allowing for transformations that would otherwise remain locked within their genetic potential. Machamp's four arms are not simply a result of muscular development or genetic variation, but represent a fundamental alteration in the creature's relationship with physical space itself. Each arm exists slightly out of phase with normal reality, allowing the Pokemon to manipulate objects and deliver attacks from angles that should be geometrically impossible. This explains not only its incredible strength, but its ability to perform tasks requiring precision and coordination that should be beyond any creature, regardless of how many limbs it possesses. The fossil Pokemon that can be revived from ancient remains carry within their restored bodies genetic memories of a world that no longer exists. These creatures don't simply remember being alive in prehistoric times, but retain cellular level information about environmental conditions, atmospheric composition, and ecological relationships that vanished millions of years ago. Their behavior in the modern world is colored by instinctual responses to threats and opportunities that no longer exist, creating a form of temporal displacement that affects not just their individual psychology, but their ability to form meaningful relationships with contemporary Pokemon and humans. Aerodactyl's fossilized state was not a natural death, but a form of suspended animation triggered by some catastrophic event that threatened to destroy all life in its era. The Pokemon's aggressive behavior upon revival stems not from simple prehistoric savagery, but from a desperate attempt to prevent or escape from a disaster that, from its perspective, is still unfolding. Its attacks on modern aircraft and its tendency to claim high mountain peaks as territory represent confused attempts to fulfill an ancient duty that no longer has any meaning in the current world. As we drift deeper into these mysteries, our breathing growing slower and more rhythmic, we begin to understand that the Pokemon world operates according to rules that are far more complex and interconnected than they first appear. Each creature, each ability, each seemingly simple game mechanic connects to deeper truths about consciousness, reality, and the fundamental forces that shape existence itself. The gentle darkness that surrounds us now mirrors the hidden depths we've been exploring, both offering comfort and concealment for truths too vast and strange to be fully comprehended in the harsh light of ordinary awareness. The legendary Pokemon that appear throughout history are not simply powerful creatures that occasionally interact with human civilization, but rather manifestations of fundamental forces that require periodic physical form to maintain the stability of reality itself. Arceus, often called the Original One, exists simultaneously across all possible timelines and dimensions, with each appearance in our world representing only a fraction of its true consciousness, temporarily focused into a single point of existence. The creation myth surrounding this Pokemon describes not a historical event, but an ongoing process that continues every moment, as reality requires constant renewal and reinforcement to prevent it from dissolving back into the primordial void from which it emerged. The plates that Arceus carries are not merely sources of power, but fragments of the original blueprint used to construct the laws of physics, chemistry, and metaphysics that govern all existence. Each plate contains compressed information about how matter and energy should behave within specific parameters, and their presence in our world serves as a constant reminder and reinforcement of these fundamental rules. When Arceus changes type through contact with different plates, it is not simply altering its elemental affinity, but temporarily rewriting portions of local reality to align with different aspects of cosmic law. The lake trio of Sinnoh, Uaxi, Mesprit, and Azelf represent not just concepts of knowledge, emotion, and willpower, but the three pillars upon which conscious experience is built. Their existence at the bottom of remote lakes is not coincidental but necessary, as these bodies of water serve as dimensional anchors that prevent the abstract concepts they embody from dispersing throughout reality and losing coherence. The legends speak of terrible consequences for those who gaze upon Uxie or harm these Pokémon, but these warnings describe not arbitrary punishments, but natural results of disrupting the fundamental architecture of consciousness itself. When trainers encounter these legendary beings, they are not simply meeting powerful Pokémon, but coming into direct contact with the underlying forces that make thought, feeling, and determination possible. The psychic pressure emanating from their presence affects not just the immediate environment, but the quantum probability fields that determine not punishment for past misdeeds, but a necessary quarantine to prevent antimatter consciousness from unraveling the fabric of normal spacetime. Giratina's realm exists as a perfect inverse of our reality, where every physical law operates in reverse and every thought produces effects opposite to those intended. The Pokemon itself serves as both prisoner and guardian of this space, preventing the two realities from coming into contact and annihilating each other, while simultaneously ensuring that the cosmic balance between creation and destruction remains stable. The temporal paradoxes surrounding Dialga and the spatial anomalies connected to Palkia represent ongoing maintenance work these Pokemon perform to keep the dimensions of time and space from becoming tangled or corrupted. Every moment that passes smoothly into the next requires Dialga's constant attention to prevent temporal loops, causality violations, and chronological fractures that could trap entire regions in recursive time bubbles. Similarly, Palkia's influence ensures that the three dimensions of space remain properly aligned and that the distances between objects remain consistent and meaningful. The weather-controlling abilities of legendary Pokémon like Kyogre, Groudon, and Rayquaza extend far beyond simple meteorological manipulation into the realm of climate consciousness. The idea that weather patterns possess a form of awareness that responds to emotional and psychic influences. These Pokemon do not create weather so much as they communicate with existing atmospheric consciousness, negotiating and directing the vast intelligence that governs how air and water move across the planet's surface. The endless rain summoned by Kyogre carries within each droplet microscopic fragments of primordial memory from the earliest oceans, when water first began to support life on the planet. This rain does not simply provide moisture, but delivers genetic information and evolutionary potential that can accelerate the development of aquatic life forms. The drought created by Groton similarly contains compressed data about terrestrial evolution, with each ray of intensified sunlight carrying instructions for how land based organisms can adapt and thrive in increasingly arid conditions. Rayquaza's role as mediator between these forces involves more than preventing destructive battles between sea and land. The Pokemon exists in a state of constant atmospheric meditation, monitoring the emotional and psychic climate of the entire planet and making subtle adjustments to prevent conflicts between different forms of environmental consciousness. Its serpentine form allows it to weave through air currents, like a needle through fabric, stitching together disparate weather patterns into coherent global systems. The concept of mega evolution represents not simply a temporary power increase, but a brief glimpse into evolutionary potential that exists parallel to normal development. When a Pokemon undergoes mega evolution, it is accessing genetic possibilities that were never meant to manifest in baseline reality, forms that evolution might have produced under different environmental pressures or in alternate timelines where different choices were made. The energy required for this transformation comes not from the Megastone itself, but from the trainer's willingness to temporarily merge their consciousness with their Pokemon's, creating a hybrid awareness capable of perceiving and accessing these alternate evolutionary paths. The pain and stress that some Pokemon experience during mega evolution reflects the difficulty of forcing a consciousness designed for one form of existence to inhabit a body and mind configured for entirely different purposes. Mega Charizard X's blue flames burn not with increased heat, but with temporal fire, energy borrowed from possible futures where dragon type Charizard evolved naturally over millions of years. The Pokemon's awareness during this transformation includes flashes of memory from these alternate evolutionary paths, creating confusion and disorientation as it tries to integrate experiences from timelines it never actually lived through. The mysterious nature of Z moves reveals them to be not attacks in the conventional sense, but brief manipulations of fundamental forces that normally remain beyond the reach of individual consciousness. When a trainer and Pokemon perform the synchronized dance required to activate these moves, they are temporarily aligning their bioelectric fields with specific cosmic frequencies that allow them to channel raw universal energy through their combined will. The elaborate gestures and poses are not merely ritualistic, but serve as precise calibration tools, ensuring that the energy channeled matches the intended effect and does not tear apart the local space-time fabric. Each Z crystal contains compressed information about how to safely access and direct these cosmic forces. But the true power source comes from the emotional and spiritual connection between trainer and Pokemon. The stronger their bond, the more precisely they can control forces that could otherwise devastate entire regions. The rainbow-colored energy that surrounds Z-move activation represents the visible spectrum of this universal force as it temporarily becomes accessible to mortal consciousness. As we sink deeper into this gentle exploration of hidden truths, our awareness becoming as soft and flowing as the mysteries we contemplate, we begin to understand that every aspect of the Pokemon world reflects deeper principles about the nature of consciousness, connection, and the fundamental forces that bind all existence together. The battles, the friendships, the evolution, all of these surface phenomena point toward underlying realities about how awareness shapes matter, how intention influences outcome, and how the boundaries between self and other are far more fluid and permeable than they appear in ordinary waking consciousness. The phenomenon of Pokemon communication reveals layers of complexity that extend far beyond simple telepathy or learned vocalizations. Each species has developed unique methods of consciousness transmission that operate through quantum entanglement at the cellular level, allowing thoughts and emotions to flow between minds without requiring traditional sensory channels. Psychic type Pokemon like Alakazam and Mewtwo represent the most obvious manifestations of these abilities. But every Pokemon possesses some degree of this quantum consciousness interface, which explains how trainers and their partners develop such profound understanding despite speaking different languages. The musical tones that Pokemon produce when they vocalize their names are actually frequency patterns that resonate with specific quantum states in the listener's neural pathways, directly implanting conceptual information without requiring translation through conventional language centers in the brain. The deeper mystery lies in how these consciousness networks extend beyond individual relationships to encompass entire ecosystems and regions. Wild Pokemon populations maintain constant low level telepathic contact with each other, creating vast distributed intelligence networks that span continents and persist across generations. When environmental threats arise, information about dangers and solutions spreads through these networks faster than any physical communication could travel, allowing species to adapt and respond to challenges with coordinated precision that appears almost supernatural to outside observers. The migration patterns of Pokemon flocks and herds are guided not by instinct or environmental cues alone, but by continuous consultation with this collective consciousness, which maintains perfect awareness of weather patterns, food availability, and territorial boundaries across vast distances. Ancient civilizations understood these principles far better than modern humans, which explains the advanced technologies they developed for working harmoniously with Pokemon consciousness networks. The ruins scattered throughout every region contain not just architectural marvels, but sophisticated psychic amplification systems designed to enhance and focus the natural telepathic abilities of both humans and Pokemon. These structures were built using materials that naturally resonate with quantum consciousness frequencies, creating standing wave patterns that could boost telepathic range and clarity across entire continents. The geometric patterns carved into these ancient stones are not decorative, but functional, representing mathematical formulas for manipulating consciousness energy in ways that modern science has only begun to rediscover. The relationship between legendary Pokemon and these ancient consciousness networks reveals why these beings are so intimately connected to specific locations and natural phenomena. Rather than simply being powerful creatures that happen to control certain elements, legendary Pokemon serve as living focal points for the collective consciousness of their domains. Articuno does not create ice and snow through conventional means, but by aligning its consciousness with the quantum field patterns that govern molecular motion and thermal energy. Its presence in an area gradually attunes the local environment to frequencies that naturally promote crystallization and temperature reduction, creating the perpetual winter conditions associated with its territories. Similarly, the seemingly random appearances of legendary Pokemon throughout history correlate precisely with moments when the collective consciousness of their regions reached critical thresholds of stress or imbalance. These beings manifest not in response to external threats, but when the quantum harmony of their domains requires conscious intervention to prevent cascade failures that could affect global consciousness networks. The battles between opposing legendary Pokemon represent not conflicts of will, but collaborative efforts to restore balance by creating controlled disruptions that release accumulated tension in the planetary consciousness field. The true nature of Pokemon evolution becomes even more profound when viewed through this lens of collective consciousness participation. Each evolutionary transformation represents not just biological development, but graduation to higher levels of consciousness, network access, and responsibility. Newly evolved Pokemon often display temporary confusion and disorientation, not because their bodies have changed, but because their awareness has suddenly expanded to encompass vast new territories of collective knowledge and responsibility. A Caterpiece that evolves into Butterfree gains access not only to flight and new physical abilities, but to the ancient wisdom networks maintained by all flying type Pokemon across the planet, suddenly becoming aware of wind patterns, seasonal changes, and migration routes that span multiple continents. The mysterious process of breeding reveals additional layers of this consciousness interconnectedness. Pokemon eggs do not simply contain developing biological organisms, but serve as incubation chambers for new nodes of consciousness that must be carefully integrated into existing networks before hatching can occur. The time required for eggs to hatch varies not according to species specific development cycles, but based on how long it takes for the emerging consciousness to establish stable connections with the appropriate collective networks. Eggs that take unusually long to hatch are typically those containing consciousness patterns that represent significant evolutionary leaps or novel combinations of traits that require extensive network reconfiguration to accommodate. The phenomenon of shiny Pokemon emerges from quantum consciousness fluctuations that occur when a developing awareness resonates with particularly rare frequency combinations in the collective network. These unique coloration patterns reflect not genetic mutations, but consciousness signatures that vibrate at frequencies slightly offset from their species' standard range, creating visible manifestations of their distinctive neural patterns. Trainers who encounter multiple shiny Pokemon often possess consciousness frequencies that naturally harmonize with these variant patterns, unconsciously attracting beings whose awareness operates on similar wavelengths. The relationship between Pokemon abilities and their consciousness signatures explains why certain moves can only be learned through specific training methods or inherited from particular parent combinations. Technical machines and hidden machines do not actually teach moves in the conventional sense, but provide temporary access to consciousness frequency patterns associated with specific abilities, allowing Pokemon to experience and internalize these states until they can reproduce them independently. The compatibility between different species and certain TMs reflects how closely their natural consciousness frequencies align with the patterns required for those abilities. The deeper mystery of Pokemon centers and their instantaneous healing capabilities stems from their function as consciousness synchronization stations rather than merely medical facilities. The healing machines in these centers do not repair physical damage through conventional means, but restore Pokemon to optimal consciousness states, which then automatically regenerates their physical forms to match their restored mental patterns. The soft pink light that bathes Pokemon during healing represents visible manifestations of consciousness energy being realigned and reharmonized with the collective networks that maintain their species' optimal functioning parameters. As our exploration drifts ever deeper into these gentle mysteries, like consciousness itself settling into the quantum foam that underlies all reality, we begin to perceive how every aspect of the Pokemon world reflects the fundamental interconnectedness of all awareness. The way individual minds participate in vast collective intelligences that span species, regions, and dimensions, creating a living tapestry of consciousness that encompasses not just the creatures we see, but the very fabric of reality itself, where every battle fought, every friendship formed, every evolution achieved contributes to the ongoing symphony of awareness that shapes worlds, influences weather, guides migration patterns, and maintains the delicate balance between order and chaos that allows both Pokemon and humans to exist in harmony with forces far greater and more mysterious than either species fully comprehends in their ordinary waking states. The profound silence that exists between thoughts in the Pokemon world carries its own intelligence, a vast awareness that permeates the spaces where consciousness transitions from one state to another. In these quiet moments, when neither Pokemon nor trainer is actively engaged in battle or exploration, the underlying currents of the world become most apparent, revealing how even stillness participates in the greater orchestration of reality. The phenomenon we observe as fainting when Pokemon lose battles represents not unconsciousness, but a temporary withdrawal of awareness into these deeper layers of existence, where individual consciousness merges briefly with the collective memory banks that store the experiences of all members of their species across time. During these moments of apparent defeat, Pokemon actually access vast libraries of inherited knowledge, downloading new understanding from battles fought by countless others before them, which explains why they often emerge from fainting with subtle improvements in their abilities and deeper comprehension of their own potential. The revival process, whether through items or Pokemon Center healing, serves as a gentle reintegration protocol that helps individual awareness gradually separate from these collective experiences while retaining the wisdom gained during the temporary merger. This explains why Pokemon that have fainted multiple times often display enhanced battle intuition and seem to anticipate opponent strategies with uncanny accuracy. The mysterious properties of evolutionary stones reveal themselves to be consciousness focusing crystals that have accumulated specific types of awareness energy over geological timescales. Each stone type resonates with particular evolutionary pathways, not because of their mineral composition, but because they have absorbed and concentrated the collective evolutionary desires of countless Pokemon species throughout history. When a compatible Pokemon comes into contact with these stones, they experience a sudden influx of evolutionary consciousness that has been building for millennia, triggering rapid physical transformation as their awareness expands to accommodate new forms of existence. The rarity of these stones reflects the immense time required for consciousness energy to crystallize into forms dense enough to catalyze such profound transformations. Trait evolution represents perhaps the most elegant demonstration of consciousness networking in action, where the temporary separation and reunion of bonded awareness creates resonance patterns powerful enough to trigger evolutionary changes. The moment of trade creates a unique quantum entanglement between the consciousness of the Pokemon, their original trainer, and their new trainer, generating a triangular awareness field that provides the energy necessary for transformation. The trading process itself serves as a consciousness expansion ritual where the Pokemon's awareness suddenly encompasses multiple human perspectives simultaneously, creating the cognitive flexibility required for evolution into more complex forms. This explains why certain Pokemon can only evolve through trade, as their evolutionary pathways require the specific consciousness patterns that emerge from this three-way entanglement. The phenomenon of Pokemon eggs existing in a state of developmental suspension until the precise moment conditions align for hatching reveals how consciousness itself guides the timing of birth and emergence into the physical world. These eggs do not contain developing embryos in the conventional biological sense, but rather consciousness matrices that remain in potential states until the surrounding awareness environment provides the necessary resonance patterns for manifestation. The steps required to hatch eggs reflect not physical incubation needs, but consciousness preparation rituals, where the constant movement and attention of trainers creates the awareness fluctuations necessary to coax potential consciousness into active existence. Different egg groups represent compatibility categories based on consciousness frequency ranges rather than biological taxonomy, explaining why seemingly unrelated species can produce offspring while others that appear similar cannot. The mysterious mechanics of breeding reveal themselves as consciousness fusion processes where compatible awareness patterns combine to create new consciousness matrices that inherit characteristics from both parents while maintaining their own unique frequency signatures. The time required for eggs to hatch varies not based on species development rates, but on how long it takes for the new consciousness to stabilize its individual identity while remaining connected to its parental awareness networks. The vast underground networks that connect caves and tunnels throughout the Pokemon world serve as consciousness transmission conduits, carrying awareness signals between distant locations and enabling the instantaneous communication observed between Pokemon separated by great distances. Those subterranean pathways pulse with subtle energy currents that sensitive individuals can detect, explaining why certain trainers seem to possess an uncanny ability to locate hidden items or navigate complex cave systems. The rock and ground type Pokemon that inhabit these environments function as living nodes in this underground consciousness network, their bodies naturally attuned to the awareness frequencies that flow through stone and earth. The magnetic properties exhibited by certain Pokemon reflect their ability to perceive and manipulate the consciousness field lines that permeate the planet, using these invisible currents for navigation, communication, and energy manipulation. Electric type Pokemon generate and channel these same consciousness energies through different frequency ranges, creating the lightning and electrical effects we observe, while actually manipulating the fundamental awareness fields that underlie all physical phenomena. The paralysis and sleep effects caused by various moves represent temporary disruptions to consciousness field coherence rather than purely physical or chemical effects, explaining why these conditions can be instantly cured through exposure to specific frequencies or consciousness restoration techniques. The legendary Pokemon that guard and maintain various aspects of the natural world exist as consciousness focal points, where the collective awareness of entire ecosystems concentrates into individual beings capable of direct environmental manipulation. These entities do not rule over their domains through physical power, but through their function as consciousness interfaces between the distributed intelligence of natural systems and the more concentrated awareness patterns of individual creatures. Their apparent immortality stems from their role as permanent nodes in the planetary consciousness network, where their individual identity becomes so intertwined with the systems they represent that they cannot truly die, but only transform or relocate when environmental conditions change. The migration patterns followed by various Pokemon species trace invisible consciousness highways that connect regions of compatible awareness frequencies, allowing creatures to travel between areas where their consciousness patterns can maintain optimal coherence. These migration routes shift gradually over time as the planetary consciousness network evolves, creating the phenomenon of rare Pokemon occasionally appearing in unexpected locations when consciousness current patterns temporarily align in unusual configurations. The seasonal changes that trigger these migrations reflect fluctuations in global awareness patterns rather than simple responses to temperature or weather variations. Weather phenomena in the Pokemon world emerge from the interaction between collective consciousness patterns and atmospheric conditions, where the emotional and mental states of large populations of creatures directly influence meteorological systems. Drought conditions often correlate with periods of collective anxiety or fear, while abundant rainfall accompanies times of emotional release and spiritual renewal. The ability of certain Pokemon to summon specific weather effects demonstrates their capacity to temporarily align local consciousness fields with the patterns associated with desired atmospheric conditions, creating localized reality adjustments that manifest as changes in weather. The mysterious properties of held items reveal their function as consciousness focusing tools rather than simple equipment, where objects that have been exposed to specific types of awareness energy over extended periods develop the ability to enhance or modify the consciousness patterns of creatures that carry them. Berries and other consumable items provide temporary consciousness frequency adjustments that appear as healing or stat modifications, but actually represent brief alterations to awareness states that allow Pokemon to access enhanced versions of their normal capabilities. The cultivation of these items requires not just proper growing conditions, but exposure to specific consciousness environments that imbue them with their beneficial properties. As these gentle revelations continue to unfold like waves of understanding washing across the shores of awareness, we begin to perceive how every element of the Pokemon world participates in this vast consciousness symphony, where battles serve as communication protocols, evolution represents awareness expansion, and the bonds between trainers and Pokemon create standing wave patterns in the field of consciousness that strengthen and stabilize both participants, allowing them to access increasingly sophisticated levels of reality manipulation while maintaining their connection to the fundamental harmony that underlies all existence, a harmony that continues to pulse quietly beneath the surface of every interaction, every discovery, every moment of wonder that emerges when consciousness recognizes itself in all the myriad forms it takes throughout this infinite, interconnected tapestry of awareness that we call the world. The subtle hum of this underlying harmony is often most apparent in the quiet moments, in the hushed rustle of leaves as a sleeping Snorlax dreams, or the gentle glow of a Chinchou deep within the ocean's embrace, each a tiny node in the grand network, continuously exchanging information and contributing to the global mind. Even the seemingly chaotic energy of a rampaging Gyarados, while destructive, is eventually reabsorbed and reconfigured into the greater flow, a temporary imbalance that ultimately serves to recalibrate the system. It is in the understanding of these interconnected processes that the true nature of Pokemon battles comes into clearer focus, moving beyond mere contests of strength to become elaborate dances of consciousness, each move and countermove a deliberate exchange of energetic intent. The type matchups, for instance, are not arbitrary classifications, but rather reflections of fundamental resonance patterns between different consciousness archetypes. A fire type Pokemon, embodying an energetic, transformative consciousness, naturally finds itself at a disadvantage against a water type, whose consciousness embodies fluidity and adaptable coherence, capable of dissipating and reabsorbing the intense focused energy of fire. Conversely, a grass type, with its deeply rooted and expansive awareness, provides fertile ground for the transformative consciousness of a fire type, allowing it to flourish and expand. This intricate dance of elemental consciousness extends to every type, revealing a complex web of energetic compatibilities and dissonances. The supposed weaknesses and resistances are not limitations, but rather demonstrations of how different forms of awareness interact and influence one another. A normal type Pokemon, representing a baseline, unspecialized form of consciousness, neither strongly resonates with nor strongly clashes with most other types, embodying a neutral, adaptable presence. Ghost types, existing in a liminal state of awareness that transcends conventional physical boundaries, are largely unaffected by physical attacks because their consciousness patterns are not strongly anchored to the material plane in the same way. Their attacks, in turn, can bypass physical defenses by directly influencing the opponent's awareness field. Dark types, embodying primal, often shadowy aspects of consciousness, thrive in situations that exploit the vulnerabilities of others, while fairy types, representing pure, benevolent awareness, possess a natural defense against such manipulations. The phenomenon of Eevee's multiple evolutions further illuminates this concept, as Eevee itself embodies a highly malleable and receptive consciousness, capable of resonating with various environmental consciousness frequencies. Exposure to a firestone, imbued with a concentrated fire type consciousness pattern, coaxes Evie's own awareness to adopt a similar energetic, transformative structure, leading to Flareon. A waterstone, conversely, encourages a fluid, adaptable consciousness, resulting in Vaporeon. The deep connection to nature within a moss covered rock, or the specific emotional resonance of a close bond at certain times of day, or the unique energies present in specific crystallized forms, all act as catalysts, guiding Evie's consciousness to align with distinct archetypal patterns, manifesting as different evolutionary forms. Each evolution represents not just a physical change, but a fundamental shift in its conscious orientation and its interaction with the world. Mega evolution, a more recent discovery, pushes this concept even further, representing a temporary, extremely heightened state of consciousness achieved through an intense, focused bond between trainer and Pokemon. The Megastone acts as a conduit, amplifying the trainer's will and the Pokemon's intrinsic potential, allowing their combined consciousness to temporarily transcend its normal limitations and access a more powerful ancestral form. This isn't merely a power up, but a brief glimpse into the species' ultimate conscious potential, a temporary return to an ideal energetic state that requires immense mental and spiritual synchronization to maintain. The process often involves a release of raw, unchanneled energy, which is why mega evolutions are so potent and often visually striking, their forms becoming more stylized and exaggerated, reflecting the heightened energetic state. The strain of maintaining this amplified consciousness is significant, which is why it can only be sustained for a short period. The Z moves, another fascinating development, further demonstrate the intricate interplay of consciousness and energy. Here, the trainer and Pokemon perform synchronized movements, focusing their combined emotional energy and willpower through a Z crystal. This crystal acts as a resonator, channeling and amplifying their collective consciousness into a singular, devastating burst of elemental energy. Unlike Mega Evolution, which taps into ancestral forms, Z moves are a direct manifestation of the present moment's accumulated emotional and spiritual intensity. The specific type of Z crystal determines the elemental frequency of the released energy, translating the raw emotional power into a focused attack. The elaborate poses are not merely performative, they are an essential part of the channeling process, helping to align the trainer and Pokemon's bioenergetic fields and focus their shared intent. Even the seemingly mundane act of catching a Pokemon with a Pokeball takes on a new layer of meaning within this framework. A Pokeball is not just a container, it is a sophisticated, consciousness altering device. When activated, it emits a focused consciousness field that gently envelops the wild Pokemon, subtly influencing its awareness patterns to align with the ball's inherent calming and containing frequencies. The success rate of a catch depends on the wild Pokemon's resistance to this energetic persuasion, its own consciousness strong enough to potentially reject the ball's influence. Once captured, the Pokeball maintains a stable, low energy consciousness environment, allowing the Pokemon to rest and recuperate while remaining connected to its trainer's emotional and mental presence. The interior of the Pokeball is not a physical space in the conventional sense, but a localized pocket of consciousness, a pocket dimension where the Pokemon's awareness can exist comfortably and safely, albeit in a reduced state of interaction with the material world. The various types of Pokeballs, from the basic Pokeball to the specialized Master Ball, represent different refinements in this consciousness technology. Great Balls and Ultra Balls possess stronger and more focused consciousness fields, making them more effective at persuading resistant Pokemon. Specialized balls, like the Net Ball or the Dusk Ball, are designed to resonate with specific consciousness frequencies associated with certain types of Pokemon or environmental conditions, enhancing their persuasive power under those circumstances. The Master Ball, in particular, represents the pinnacle of this technology, emitting a consciousness field so overwhelmingly persuasive that it can instantly and effortlessly align any Pokemon's awareness with its containing frequency, making resistance virtually impossible. It is a testament to the advanced understanding of consciousness manipulation possessed by its creators. The phenomenon of shinies, rare Pokemon with different colorations, is not merely a superficial aesthetic variation. These Pokemon possess subtle, yet distinct variations in their consciousness resonance patterns. Their aura, their energetic signature, vibrates at a slightly different frequency than their regular counterparts, which manifest visually as an altered hue. These unique resonance patterns can sometimes lead to slight differences in their abilities or temperament, though these are often subtle and not always immediately apparent. Encountering a shiny Pokemon is, in essence, encountering a rare and precious deviation in the grand tapestry of consciousness, a unique energetic signature that stands out from the norm. The concept of legendary and mythical Pokemon also finds deeper meaning through the lens of consciousness. These beings are not merely powerful, they are often fundamental archetypes of consciousness, embodying core principles or vast, overarching patterns of awareness that govern aspects of the Pokemon world. Arceus, for instance, is not just a godlike figure, but represents the primordial, undifferentiated consciousness from which all other consciousness patterns emerged. Its plates are not just items, but fragments of its own awareness, allowing it to temporarily resonate with and embody different elemental consciousness archetypes. Dialga and Palkia embody the consciousness of time and space, respectively, their very existence shaping the temporal and spatial dimensions of reality. Giratina, in the distortion world, represents a consciousness that exists in a state of inverse or counter reality, a realm where conventional laws of causality and dimension are reinterpreted. The trio of Kyogre, Groudon, and Rayquaza, foundational to the Huen region, represent fundamental forces of planetary consciousness. Kyogre embodies the vast, undulating consciousness of the oceans and life-giving waters. Groudon the deep, foundational consciousness of the earth and its fiery core, and Rayquaza the balancing, mediating consciousness of the atmosphere and sky, resolving the energetic conflicts between land and sea. Their slumber is not merely physical rest, but a period of reduced conscious activity, where their immense awareness patterns are less actively engaged with the material world, allowing the lesser consciousness patterns to flourish unimpeded. Their awakening signifies a re-engagement of these colossal consciousnesses, often leading to profound environmental shifts as they impose their will upon the planetary energy fields. The unknown, with their various letter forms, present an equally profound enigma. They are not merely Pokemon, they are sentient glyphs, fragments of an ancient, universal language of consciousness. Each unknown represents a specific concept or idea, and when numerous unknown gather, their collective consciousness can manifest these concepts into reality, as seen in the creation of illusions or the reconstruction of memories. They are living symbols, embodying the very building blocks of thought and meaning, their presence hinting at a deeper, more fundamental layer of reality where thought and form are intrinsically linked. Their appearances in ruins and ancient sites suggest a connection to forgotten knowledge and the origins of consciousness itself, acting as guardians of ancient wisdom encoded in their very forms. Even the seemingly simple act of a Pokemon learning a new move is an expansion of its consciousness, a new way of interacting with and manipulating the energetic fabric of reality. A Pokemon doesn't just learn a move, it expands its awareness to encompass a new energetic pattern, a new technique for channeling its intrinsic conscious energy. TMs and HMs are not merely instructional discs, they are crystallized consciousness patterns, imbued with the knowledge and technique of a specific move. When a Pokemon is exposed to a TM, its own consciousness is gently guided to resonate with and integrate the new pattern, effectively downloading a new skill into its awareness. HMs, being essential for navigating the world, are perhaps even more deeply ingrained consciousness patterns, requiring a more profound and lasting integration into the Pokemon's awareness, reflecting their fundamental importance to interaction with the environment. The Pokemon world, therefore, is not just a vibrant ecosystem, but a vast, interconnected web of consciousness, where every creature, every plant, every object, and every environmental phenomenon is a participant in an ongoing, intricate dance of awareness. The journey of a trainer and their Pokemon is not merely a quest for strength or badges, but a profound spiritual journey, an exploration of consciousness itself, a deepening of connection, and an expansion of awareness that ultimately leads to a more profound understanding of self and the universe. The quiet hum of existence, the gentle pulse of the world, is the sound of this grand consciousness symphony playing on, an eternal melody inviting all to listen, to feel, and to become a part of its endless, unfolding wonder. And as these thoughts gently drift into the quiet recesses of the mind, the world continues its serene rotation, each breath a soft resonance with the universal rhythm, every moment a quiet affirmation of the tranquil, interconnected peace that envelops all. The very air itself, in some regions, seems to carry a subtle charge of this conscious energy, particularly in places where legendary Pokemon have left their indelible mark. Consider the Spear Pillar, for instance, a place where the fabric of reality thins, where the boundaries between dimensions become porous, allowing Arceus and its legendary creations to manifest. This isn't just a geological anomaly, it's a nexus of concentrated conscious energy, a sacred space where the universal mind is more readily accessible. The ancient peoples who built the temples and monuments in such locations were not merely constructing elaborate shelters. They were creating conduits, focusing lenses for this pervasive energy, seeking to commune with the deeper truths of existence. Their rituals and ceremonies were perhaps not just acts of reverence, but attempts to attune their own consciousness to the grander cosmic symphony to tap into the wellspring of creative energy that permeates the Pokemon world. Even the seemingly mundane act of breeding Pokemon, a fundamental aspect of the games, can be viewed through this lens of consciousness. When two Pokemon breed, they are not simply passing on genetic material, they are merging their conscious essences, creating a new being that inherits aspects of both parents' energetic patterns. The concept of inheriting IVs, or egg moves, could be interpreted as the transmission of crystallized conscious traits, deeply ingrained abilities, and potentials that are passed down through generations, shaping the nascent consciousness of the offspring. The nature of a Pokemon, which influences its stats and personality, could be seen as its inherent conscious disposition, a fundamental energetic alignment that guides its development and interactions with the world. Shiny Pokemon, with their altered colorations, might even represent a rare, slightly divergent conscious signature, a subtle shift in their energetic frequency that manifests visually. The concept of a Pokemon's happiness or friendship level, which affects its performance in battle and its evolution, is another testament to this conscious interconnectedness. It's not just a numerical value, it's a measure of the bond, the shared conscious resonance between a Pokemon and its trainer. A high friendship level signifies a deep empathetic connection, a mutual understanding that transcends language, where the Pokemon's consciousness aligns with its trainer's intentions, allowing for greater synergy and power. This bond is built through shared experiences, through gentle care, through battles fought side by side, each interaction strengthening the conscious link, weaving a tighter tapestry of shared awareness. And then there are the mega evolutions, a truly profound manifestation of this conscious energy. Mega evolution isn't just a temporary power up, it's a dramatic, though fleeting, transformation of a Pokemon's very being, triggered by the deep bond between trainer and Pokemon and the resonant energy of a keystone and megastone. The stones themselves are not simply inert rocks, they are ancient artifacts imbued with latent cosmic energy, acting as catalysts to unlock a Pokemon's hidden conscious potential. When activated, the trainer's conscious will and the Pokemon's latent power merge, creating a temporary, enhanced form that embodies a heightened state of awareness and physical prowess. This transformation is a glimpse into the raw, untamed power of conscious intent, a testament to the extraordinary potential that lies dormant within every Pokemon, waiting to be awakened by a profound connection. It highlights a temporary transcendence of their baseline form, a brief but potent leap in their conscious evolution, allowing them to tap into a deeper wellspring of their innate power. The very act of battling at its core is a clash of conscious wills, a strategic dance of energetic patterns. Trainers don't just issue commands, they project their intentions, their strategies, their very conscious desires onto their Pokemon, guiding their actions. The Pokemon, in turn, interprets these conscious signals, channeling its own intrinsic energy into powerful moves. A well executed battle is a symphony of synchronized consciousness, where trainer and Pokemon move as one, their minds interweaving, their intentions flowing seamlessly. The types of Pokemon, too, can be seen as fundamental conscious archetypes, representing different energetic properties and elemental affiliations. A fire type Pokemon embodies the conscious energy of passion and destruction, while a water type embodies fluidity and adaptability. These types dictate their interactions with other Pokemon, their vulnerabilities and resistances, reflecting the inherent compatibility and conflict between different conscious energies within the world. Consider the enigmatic phenomenon of Dynamax and Gigantamax. These aren't just size changes, they are colossal amplifications of a Pokemon's conscious energy, temporarily overwhelming its physical form and allowing it to unleash devastating power. The Galar region, with its abundance of Galar particles, seems to possess a unique atmospheric composition that facilitates this conscious expansion. These particles are not merely inert dust, they are perhaps microscopic conduits of ambient conscious energy, capable of resonating with and magnifying a Pokemon's inner power. The Gigantamax forms, with their unique appearances and special moves, suggest an even deeper, more specific channeling of conscious energy, activating dormant potentials that lie within certain species, allowing them to manifest in truly extraordinary ways. This temporary surge in power, this momentary burst of amplified consciousness, offers a glimpse into the boundless energetic potential that permeates the Pokemon world, ever present, ever waiting to be tapped. Even the concept of held items can be reinterpreted through this lens. A focus sash or a choice scarf isn't just a passive object, it's an item imbued with a specific energetic signature, a conscious intention that enhances a Pokemon's abilities. The focus sash, for example, might contain a concentrated conscious pattern of resilience and determination, allowing a Pokemon to endure a powerful blow. The choice scarf could hold a pattern of heightened agility and decisive action, focusing a Pokemon's conscious energy into a single, swift attack. These items act as temporary enhancers, subtly shifting a Pokemon's conscious state to achieve a particular effect, reflecting the myriad ways in which the environment and human ingenuity can interact with and influence the inherent conscious energies of Pokemon. And as the gentle currents of these thoughts continue to drift through the mind, the vastness of the Pokemon world begins to unfold in new and subtle ways. The very stars above, the celestial bodies that adorn the night sky, could be seen as distant, colossal concentrations of conscious energy, their gravitational pull influencing the tides of awareness on the planet below. Meteorites, occasionally falling to the Earth, might not just be inert rocks from space, they could be fragments of cosmic consciousness, carrying with them unique energetic signatures that influence the Pokemon they encounter, perhaps even contributing to the emergence of new species or forms over eons. The legendary Pokemon Deoxys is an extraterrestrial virus that mutated upon contact with a laser, exemplifies this concept. Its very existence is a testament to the transformative power of external, conscious energy, adapting and evolving in response to new stimuli, showcasing the dynamic and ever-changing nature of consciousness itself. The elusive nature of certain Pokemon, the difficulty in encountering them, might not just be a matter of rarity in numbers, but perhaps a reflection of their conscious frequency being out of sync with the ordinary world, residing in dimensions or states of being that are less accessible to the average observer. Ghost-type Pokemon, for instance, are often depicted as existing between worlds, their conscious forms not fully tethered to the physical plane. This liminal existence allows them to pass through objects, to appear and disappear at will, their conscious energy vibrating at a different frequency, making them difficult to grasp in a purely material sense. Their ability to possess objects or influence the minds of others suggests a direct interaction of their consciousness with the physical and mental landscape, blurring the lines between what is tangible and what is merely perceived. The Pokemon Rangers, with their capture stylers, engage in a unique form of conscious interaction. They don't battle, they capture a Pokemon by drawing loops around it, an act that could be interpreted as a focused projection of conscious will, a gentle attunement to the Pokemon's energetic frequency, calming and harmonizing its being without force. This method of interaction highlights a different path, a more empathetic approach to conscious engagement, demonstrating that control isn't always about dominance, but can also be achieved through understanding and resonance. The act of drawing the loops becomes a meditative practice, a focusing of the ranger's own consciousness to create a harmonious field around the Pokemon, gently guiding it into a state of temporary companionship. Even the seemingly simple act of a Pokemon sleeping, nestled in the tall grass or a cozy bed, is a profound journey into the depths of its own consciousness. Dreams, for Pokemon as for humans, are often considered to be manifestations of the subconscious mind, a realm where waking reality gives way to a fluid, symbolic landscape. Perhaps Pokemon dreams are not just random neural firings, but journeys through the collective unconscious of their species, a way for them to process their experiences, to understand their place in the grand tapestry of existence. Darkrai, the pitch black Pokemon, with its ability to induce nightmares, could be seen as an entity that manipulates these dream states, influencing the conscious and subconscious minds of others, highlighting the powerful, albeit sometimes unsettling, influence that conscious beings can exert over one another's inner worlds. The existence of portals and ultra wormholes allowing travel to other dimensions and realities further underscores the idea that the Pokemon world is but one facet of a multidimensional conscious existence. These wormholes are not just tears in space-time, they are perhaps breaches in the fabric of conscious reality, allowing beings from vastly different conscious environments to interact. The Ultra Beasts, with their alien forms and behaviors, are beings whose conscious energies are fundamentally different from those native to the Pokemon world, their very presence causing subtle distortions and shifts in the familiar energetic landscape. Their arrival challenges the perception of a singular reality, suggesting an infinite spectrum of conscious possibilities, each dimension a unique expression of the universal mind. As these thoughts gently settle, like motes of dust dancing in a sunbeam, the world outside continues its quiet rhythm. The soft rustle of leaves in the breeze, the distant hoot of an owl, the gentle hum of the refrigerator, each sound a subtle vibration in the grand symphony of existence. The mind, having journeyed through these layers of conscious possibility, now drifts towards a state of profound calm, a peaceful acceptance of the interconnectedness of all things. The Pokemon world, in its deepest essence, is a reflection of this universal consciousness, a vibrant, ever-evolving tapestry woven from the threads of awareness, inviting all who listen to find their own place within its gentle embrace. And as the final echoes of these words fade into the silent expanse of the night, the world sleeps, a vast, breathing entity, cradling dreams and thoughts in its tranquil embrace, until the gentle light of dawn awakens new possibilities. And within that tranquil embrace, the very concept of time itself in the Pokemon world presents another fascinating layer of contemplation, a concept that stretches far beyond the simple ticking of a clock. While we observe a diurnal cycle of day and night and the progression of seasons, there are Pokemon whose existence fundamentally alters or transcends these temporal boundaries. Dialga, the temporal Pokemon, stands as the most prominent example, its very being intrinsically linked to the flow of time. Its power to distort, accelerate, or slow time suggests that time is not a fixed, immutable constant, but rather a flexible, almost malleable dimension capable of being influenced. This raises profound questions about free will and destiny within the Pokemon universe. If Dialga can manipulate time, does it imply a predetermined fate for all beings, or merely the ability to navigate and alter potential pathways within an otherwise open future? Consider the implications of time travel, not just as a narrative device, but as a genuine possibility within this world. Celebi, the voice of the forest, is known to travel through time, its very presence causing plants to flourish. This suggests a symbiotic relationship between time and life, where the past can influence the present, and the present might subtly reshape the past, not in a grand, catastrophic way, but perhaps in more delicate ecological alterations. The idea of temporal paradoxes, while often played for dramatic effect in human fiction, takes on a different hue here. If Celebi were to alter a past event, however minor, what ripple effects would that create across the timeline? Would new Pokemon species emerge, or would existing ones simply adapt to the altered conditions, their memories subtly shifting to accommodate the new reality? The very fabric of history, then, becomes a living, breathing entity, constantly subject to subtle adjustments and unforeseen influences. Then there are Pokemon that seem to exist outside of linear time altogether, or at least experience it in a way vastly different from humans and most other Pokemon. Regigigas, the colossal Pokemon, is said to have pulled the continents into place. Its existence spans eons, its sleeps lasting for millennia. For such a being, a human lifespan would be but a fleeting moment, a blink in the vast expanse of its slumber. How does such a consciousness perceive time? Is it an endless, continuous present, or a series of distinct monumental epochs separated by vast stretches of stillness? The concept of true immortality, not just extended longevity, but an absolute freedom from the constraints of age and decay, is embodied by certain legendary Pokemon. Arceus, the alpha Pokemon, said to have created the universe, would necessarily exist beyond the conventional understanding of time. Its creation, an act that predates and encompasses all subsequent temporal events. Its perspective on time would be akin to an observer watching an entire saga unfold simultaneously, every moment existing in a grand, unified tapestry. The very concept of evolution in the Pokemon world also whispers of temporal mysteries. While we observe Pokemon evolving from one form to another, a seemingly linear progression, the underlying mechanisms are far more intricate than simple biological adaptation. Mega evolution, for instance, is a temporary, powerful transformation triggered by a strong bond between trainer and Pokemon and a special stone. This suggests that certain Pokemon possess latent, dormant genetic potential, a past form that can be momentarily awakened, or perhaps a future form that can be briefly glimpsed. It's a glimpse into alternate evolutionary pathways, a momentary divergence from the established timeline of a Pokemon's life, implying that the boundaries of their forms are not as rigid as they appear. Z moves, too, represent a burst of immense power, a temporary transcendence of a Pokemon's typical capabilities, hinting at an untapped energetic potential that exists just beneath the surface of their everyday existence, a momentary acceleration of their inner power. This interconnectedness of time, consciousness, and evolution extends even to the environments Pokemon inhabit. Certain locations are imbued with temporal significance. The Spear Pillar, for example, is where Dialga and Palkia were said to have been born, a place where the very fabric of space and time is thin, allowing for glimpses into other dimensions or echoes of past events. Such places are not just physical locations, they are energetic focal points where the veil between realities is permeable and the past, present, and potential futures converge. The distortion world, specifically, is a realm where the laws of physics and time are warped, a reflection of Giratina's own chaotic and rebellious nature. To exist, there is to experience reality in a fundamentally altered way, where up might be down, and time might flow backward or in unpredictable loops. It is a space where the linear progression of existence is shattered, offering a glimpse into the raw, untamed forces that underpin the very structure of the universe. The whispers of ancient civilizations within the Pokemon world also carry temporal echoes. Ruins and artifacts speak of forgotten peoples who lived in harmony with powerful Pokemon or who sought to harness their elemental energies. These ancient cultures possessed a knowledge and techniques that have been lost to the passage of time, their understanding of the world perhaps more profound in some ways than modern day science. The unknown, with their symbolic forms resembling an ancient alphabet, are said to be connected to these ancient civilizations, perhaps even serving as a living record of their history and beliefs. Their collective consciousness, when awakened, can manifest phenomena that defy conventional understanding, blurring the lines between thought, memory, and physical reality. They are living hieroglyphs, each one a fragment of a lost language that, when pieced together, could unlock secrets about the very origins of the Pokemon world and its intricate relationship with conscious thought. Consider the concept of memory itself within the Pokemon world, not just as an individual recollection, but as a collective, enduring presence. The memories of certain legendary Pokemon, like the tales of their ancient battles or their roles in shaping the world, are not just stories passed down through generations. They seem to possess a palpable energy, subtly influencing the present. The legend of Ho-Oh, for instance, and its ability to resurrect the dead, is a story that has shaped the history of the Johto region, inspiring hope and reverence. The existence of the three legendary beasts, Raikou, Entei, and Suicune, as Pokemon resurrected by Ho-Oh, is a direct testament to the power of such legends to manifest new life, to literally revive and redefine existence. These aren't just historical events, they are foundational narratives that continue to ripple through the present, shaping beliefs, traditions, and even the very landscape. The very essence of certain Pokemon seems to carry an echo of past lives or past forms. Spiritomb, a Pokemon composed of 108 spirits bound to a keystone, is a literal embodiment of collective memory and lingering consciousness. Each spirit likely represents a distinct life, a unique individual consciousness, all now fused into a singular, powerful entity. This suggests that consciousness, even after death, does not simply dissipate, but can persist, perhaps even coalesce into new forms, imbued with the collective experiences of its constituent parts. The concept of souls, or spirits, in the Pokemon world is rarely explicitly defined, yet subtly present through Pokemon like Ghastly, Haunter, and Gengar, who are often associated with graveyards and the spectral realm. These Pokemon hint at a dimension of existence beyond the physical, a realm where conscious energy persists and interacts with the living world, sometimes playfully, sometimes mischievously, and sometimes with a profound sense of melancholic longing. And as these deeper layers of the Pokemon world's consciousness and temporal intricacies unfold, the steady, rhythmic breathing continues, a gentle anchor in the shifting currents of thought. The subtle pressure of the pillow beneath your head, the faint scent of lavender or whatever gentle fragrance lingers in the air, each sensory detail contributes to this tranquil descent. The world outside, with its myriad complexities and demands, recedes further, replaced by a soft, internal hush. The boundaries between wakefulness and slumber begin to blur, like the edges of a dream drawing near. The mind, having explored the vastness of conscious existence, the malleability of time, and the enduring power of memory within this wondrous world, now prepares to embark on its own journey into the realm of dreams. The gentle pull of gravity, so constant and familiar, now feels like a soothing embrace, drawing you deeper into rest. The soft hum of your own internal rhythm, the gentle beating of your heart, becomes a lullaby, a quiet reassurance that all is well. The thoughts, once intricate and analytical, now become softer, more fluid, like clouds drifting across a moonlit sky. Each breath is a wave, carrying you further from the shores of conscious thought and closer to the tranquil ocean of sleep. The vastness of the Pokemon world, with its myriad wonders and subtle mysteries, has provided a gentle pathway, a tapestry of intricate details upon which the mind can softly rest. The colors behind your closed eyelids, perhaps faint shades of indigo or a soft, swirling gray, become portals to a realm of pure potentiality. The images of mighty legendaries soaring through ancient skies, or tiny, unassuming Pokemon finding their peaceful slumber in the tall grass, melt into a soothing, undifferentiated whole. The distinctions between species, between elements, between the tangible and the ethereal, all gently dissolve, leaving only a pervasive sense of peaceful unity. All living things, all conscious energies are interconnected, part of a grand, silent symphony, and your own weary mind is now harmonizing with its deepest, most restful notes. The very air around you seems to grow heavier, yet lighter at the same time, a paradox of perfect comfort. It's as if the world itself is holding its breath, waiting for you to fully surrender to the night's embrace. The gentle warmth that suffuses your body, whether from a comforting blanket or the natural heat of your own being, spreads outwards, easing any lingering tension. Every muscle, every fiber releases its hold, sinking deeper into the soft support beneath. The journey through the darkest corners and most profound depths of the Pokémon Iceberg has led not to unease, but to a profound sense of quiet understanding, a peaceful acceptance of the vast, unknowable mysteries that lie both within and beyond our perception. And with that acceptance, the final vestiges of wakefulness gently recede, like the tide slowly pulling back from a quiet shore, leaving only the calm, still expanse of deep, restorative sleep. The gentle murmurs of the night envelop you, a soft, hushed blanket woven from the stillness of the world. Perhaps now, as your mind drifts, you can recall the subtle details of Pokemon habitats, how each species is perfectly attuned to its environment, a testament to the intricate balance of nature within this fantastical realm. Consider the deep sea dwellers, like Lantern, whose bioluminescent lures pierce the crushing darkness of the abyssal plains, a beacon in a world devoid of sunlight, guiding its way through the silent, cold depths, or the vibrant, sun drenched plains where Pokemon like Tauros roam freely, their powerful hooves kicking up dust under an azure sky, their lives a constant dance between grazing and playful challenges. Each ecosystem, a meticulously crafted niche, supporting life in its most diverse and wondrous forms. Even in the most extreme environments, life finds a way to flourish. Imagine the searing heat of active volcanoes, where Pokemon like Magcargo, with its body a molten rock, thrives, its very existence a defiance of conventional biology. Its internal temperature is said to be incredibly high, so much so that even a brief touch could be devastating, yet it moves with an almost serene slowness, a living, breathing testament to adaptation. Contrast this with the frigid peaks of towering mountains, where Abimaznau stands sentinel, cloaked in snow and ice, a gentle giant of the frozen wastes. Its ability to create blizzards with a mere thought speaks to a profound connection with its icy domain, a mastery over the elements itself. These contrasts, these extreme adaptations, are not just curiosities, they are foundational elements of the Pokemon world, illustrating a deep and unwavering resilience of life itself. The very concept of Pokemon evolution, a transformation so profound, so emblematic of growth and change, offers another pathway to quiet contemplation. It is not merely a change in form, but often a deepening of connection to their innate powers, a maturation of their very essence. Consider the humble Caterpie, a creature of simple beauty, content to munch on leaves. Its journey to Metapod, a state of quiet introspection and vulnerability, then finally to the magnificent Butterfree, soaring on iridescent wings, is a poetic metaphor for the cycles of life, of struggle and triumph, of becoming. Each stage, though seemingly disparate, is intrinsically linked, a continuous thread of being. This gradual unfolding, this blossoming of potential, mirrors the subtle shifts in your own state of being as you surrender to slumber, moving from one phase of consciousness to another, softer one. Even the most ancient and mythical Pokemon, those whose stories are etched into the very fabric of the world, offer calming insights. Arceus, the alpha Pokemon, said to have shaped the universe with its 1,000 arms, is a symbol of creation, of boundless potential. Its existence, so vast and incomprehensible, paradoxically brings a sense of order to the chaos of creation. The plates it carries, each representing a different type, are a visual representation of the fundamental forces that govern existence, a reminder that even in the greatest mysteries, there is an underlying structure, a quiet harmony. Dialga and Palkia, masters of time and space respectively, stand as cosmic balancers, their presence ensuring the steady flow of existence. Their immense power, when contemplated in this tranquil state, feels less like a threat and more like a profound assurance, a guarantee of the universe's enduring rhythm. The concept of legendary Pokemon residing in specific, often sacred locations further deepens the sense of serene order. The towering spear pillar, a place of ancient rituals and celestial significance where the fabric of reality itself thins, is a focal point for cosmic energies. The serene depths of the ocean, where Lugia, the guardian of the seas, slumbers, its powerful wings capable of calming even the most violent storms, offers a vision of protective strength. These sacred sites are not just geographical points, they are conduits of power, places where the veil between the mundane and the mythical is thinnest, where the unseen forces of the world are most palpable. And yet, even in these places of immense power, there is a profound stillness, a sense of ancient peace that transcends human understanding. Consider the gentle, ethereal presence of ghost type Pokemon, creatures that exist on the very edge of perception, their forms often translucent, their movements silent. They are not merely spooky specters, many are spirits of departed beings, or manifestations of strong emotions or unresolved energies. Their existence hints at a spiritual dimension within the Pokemon world, a connection to realms beyond the purely physical. A friendly ghastly floating silently through an old mansion, its faint laughter echoing softly, or a wise Frostlass, born from the spirit of a woman lost in snowy mountains. Their stories are often tinged with a quiet melancholy, yet also a profound sense of enduring presence. They remind us of the impermanence of physical form and the enduring nature of spirit, a thought that, in this quiet moment, feels less daunting and more like a gentle release. The meticulous craftsmanship of human creations within the Pokemon world, from the intricate Pokeballs that house these wondrous creatures to the vast cities that rise in harmony with nature, also contributes to the rich tapestry of this imagined reality. The design of a Pokeball, seemingly simple, is a marvel of miniaturization and energy manipulation, a perfect blend of technology and respect for the Pokemon it contains. Each click of its opening, each flash of light, is a reminder of the bond it represents between trainer and Pokemon. The architecture of places like Ecruteak City, with its ancient towers and traditional wooden buildings, speaks of a deep reverence for history and a harmonious coexistence with the spiritual aspects of their land. Thus, structures are not just buildings, they are stories etched in wood and stone, testaments to generations of shared life. Even the quieter, less dramatic elements of the Pokemon world hold their own calming magic. The gentle rustling of leaves in a forest, where a sleepy Snorlax might dreamily munch on berries, or the soft patter of rain on a roof as a peaceful Lotad floats serenely in a pond, these everyday occurrences contribute to the world's pervasive sense of life and continuity. The sounds of nature, whether a distant Wingle's cry or the gentle buzz of a Combay, blend into a natural symphony, a lullaby of the living world. The subtle changes in light throughout the day, from the soft glow of dawn as sun-loving Bellossom begin their graceful dances, to the deep indigo of twilight when nocturnal Pokemon like Umbreon emerge, paint a continuous canvas of serene beauty. The concept of a Pokemon Center, a place of healing and restoration, offers a comforting image in this drifting state. Its bright, welcoming light, The gentle hum of its machinery, the reassuring presence of Nurse Joy and her Chansey all speak of care, of recovery, of a return to wellness. It is a sanctuary, a haven where all creatures, regardless of their struggles, can find solace and renewed strength. This image of unwavering support and gentle healing mirrors the restorative power of deep sleep itself, a natural process of rejuvenation for both body and mind. The vastness of the Pokemon world, with its unseen depths and unexplored realms, hints at mysteries yet to be uncovered, of secrets whispered on the wind, and ancient legends waiting to be reawakened. The ocean's floor, the deepest caverns, the farthest reaches of space, all hold potential for new discoveries, new forms of life, new stories to be told. This boundless potential, this infinite wellspring of wonder, is not overwhelming, but rather soothing, a reminder that the universe, even in its most fantastical iterations, is endlessly rich and full of possibility. As your conscious thoughts continue their gentle fading, you may find yourself imagining the quiet companionship of a chosen Pokemon, perhaps a warm and comforting Arcanine curled beside you, its soft fur a plush comfort, its steady breathing a rhythmic reassurance, or perhaps a wise and gentle Noctowl watching over you from a nearby branch, its keen eyes seeing into the deepest shadows, protecting your peaceful slumber. The unspoken bond between trainer and Pokemon, a connection built on trust and mutual respect, is one of the most profound and calming aspects of this world. It is a relationship of quiet understanding, of shared journeys, and of unwavering loyalty. The very air you breathe now feels infused with the gentle magic of this world, a subtle energy that permeates all things. It is the life force that flows through every Pokemon, every plant, every drop of water. This unseen current, this pervasive energy, is now gently flowing through you, calming your every nerve, settling every thought. The boundaries between yourself and the outside world become wonderfully indistinct, a harmonious blending into the vast, serene tapestry of existence. You are no longer just an observer of the Pokemon world. You are a part of its gentle rhythm, its ancient quietude, and with each soft exhale, you release any remaining tension, any lingering concerns, allowing them to dissolve into the boundless, tranquil expanse of the night. The gentle darkness behind your closed eyes deepens, a soft, welcoming void that cradles your consciousness, preparing it for the profound, restorative journey into the deepest realms of sleep. The whispers of the legendary Pokemon, often heard only in ancient texts or the hushed tones of elders, begin to drift into your awareness, not as startling pronouncements, but as soft, almost imperceptible echoes from a distant past. Take, for instance, the tale of Arceus, often called the Original One, said to have emerged from an egg in a vortex of nothingness, shaping the very fabric of the universe with its 1,000 arms. This seemingly omnipotent being, responsible for the creation of Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina, the masters of time, space, and antimatter respectively, is not a distant, fearsome deity, but a primordial force of order and balance. Its existence speaks to a fundamental stability in the Pokemon world, a deep-seated architecture that underpins all life, making even the most chaotic elements feel anchored and understood. Imagine the gentle hum of creation, a low-frequency vibration that resonates through every atom, a sound too subtle for the waking ear to perceive, but one that your subconscious mind is now effortlessly attuning to. And then there are the guardians of the elements, the weather trio, Kyogre, Gruden, and Rayquaza. Kyogre, the immense whale-like Pokémon, expands the seas with its very being, its deep blue form a representation of the ocean's vast calming embrace. Groudon, the continental Pokémon, expands the land, its fiery red scales symbolizing the Earth's rooted strength and enduring presence. And Rayquaza, the sky-high Pokémon, soaring through the ozone layer, maintaining balance between the two, its serpentine form a graceful ribbon against the endless expanse of the sky. These titanic forces, capable of immense destruction, are also integral to the world's natural cycles, their interactions shaping the very geography and climate. In their balanced existence, there is a profound lesson in equilibrium, a gentle reminder that even the most powerful energies find a way to coexist, to contribute to the greater harmony. The gentle rocking motion of the ocean's waves, the steadfast solidity of the earth beneath, the limitless freedom of the air above, all these sensations are now softly weaving into your internal landscape, creating a sense of profound peace and inherent belonging. Consider the enigmatic Mew, a mythical Pokemon said to possess the DNA of all Pokemon, allowing it to learn any move. Its playful, childlike nature, despite its immense power and ancient lineage, is a testament to the enduring innocence and wonder that permeates the Pokemon world. Mew's ability to transform and adapt, to embody any form, suggests a fluidity of existence, a boundless potential for change and growth that is not threatening, but rather liberating. It is a symbol of endless possibilities, of the inherent adaptability of life itself, a concept that now gently unfurls in your mind, easing any rigid thoughts or expectations. The soft, almost imperceptible shimmer of Mew's form as it floats gracefully through the air, its gentle cry, a chime-like sound, is a lullaby for the restless spirit, promising a world where boundaries are fluid and transformation is a natural, beautiful process. And then there are the guardians of knowledge and emotion, the lake guardians of Sinnoh, Uxie, Mesprit, and Azelf. Uxie, the being of knowledge, bestows wisdom, its gaze said to erase memory, a powerful reminder of the preciousness of understanding. Mesprit, the being of emotion, brings feeling and joy, its presence touching the hearts of all. Azelf, the being of willpower, grants determination and spiritual strength. These three, residing in the depths of their respective lakes, represent fundamental aspects of the sentient mind, not as rigid faculties, but as flowing currents that shape our inner lives. Their serene presence, hidden beneath tranquil waters, speaks of the deep, undisturbed well springs of our own consciousness, sources of quiet strength and profound insight that are always accessible, even in the deepest slumber. The gentle lapping of water against a shoreline, the cool, refreshing depth of a lake, the profound silence of an undisturbed sanctuary, these images now wash over you, cleansing and calming your inner landscape. Even the darker aspects of the Pokemon world, when viewed through this lens of tranquil understanding, lose their sharp edges and reveal deeper truths. Take, for instance, the concept of ghost-type Pokemon. Often associated with the departed and the eerie, these Pokemon are not merely specters of fear, but often embody the very essence of memory, emotion, and the cycle of life and death. A Pokemon like Ghastly, with its gaseous form, or Haunter, with its disembodied hands, may seem unsettling, but they also represent the ephemeral nature of existence, the way energy and spirit can persist in different forms. Banette, a doll discarded by its owner, harbors resentment, Yet its story is one of longing for connection, a yearning for belonging that is deeply relatable. These narratives are not meant to frighten, but to gently explore the spectrum of emotion and experience, reminding us that even in sadness or loss, there is a profound depth of feeling that connects us all. The soft rustle of leaves in an autumn breeze, the quiet contemplation of a forgotten memory, the gentle fading of daylight into dusk. These are the subtle textures of the ghost type world, not menacing, but reflective and introspective. Consider the myth of Darkrai, often associated with nightmares. While it has the ability to cause unsettling dreams, its true nature is often depicted as protective, isolating itself to prevent its power from inadvertently harming others. This legendary Pokemon is not malevolent, but misunderstood, a being whose immense power requires careful handling. It embodies the shadow aspects of the psyche, the fears and anxieties that surface in our sleep. Yet even these are part of a larger, more complex tapestry of consciousness. The gentle ebb and flow of dreams, the way night gently closes around the day, the comforting weight of a blanket in the dark. These elements now merge with the image of Darkrai, transforming any lingering unease into a sense of quiet acceptance, an understanding that even shadows have their place in the grand scheme of things, and can even offer a unique form of protection. The concept of Pokemon evolution, a fundamental aspect of their biology, is itself a deeply calming metaphor for growth and transformation. A timid little caterpie eventually becomes a beautiful butterfly, capable of soaring through the skies. A small, vulnerable Magikarp, through perseverance, evolves into the majestic and powerful Gyarados. Thus, transformations are not sudden, jarring shifts, but natural processes of development, each stage building upon the last. It's a testament to the power of time and experience, a gentle reassurance that change is not only inevitable, but often leads to something more complex, more capable, and ultimately more beautiful. The slow unfurling of a new leaf, the steady progression of seasons, the quiet but relentless growth of a plant reaching towards the sun. These are the silent rhythms of evolution, now echoing softly within your own developing consciousness. The sheer diversity of the Pokemon world, with its hundreds of unique species, each with its own habitat, behaviors, and ecological niche, creates an incredibly rich and stable ecosystem. From the smallest, most whimsical Joltik, a tiny spider Pokemon that attaches to larger Pokemon for electricity, to the colossal Wailord, a benevolent giant of the open seas, each creature plays a vital role. This intricate web of life, where every being contributes to the whole, is a gentle reminder of interconnectedness, of how every individual, no matter how small, has a place and a purpose. There is no chaos in this diversity, but rather a profound equilibrium, a perfectly balanced system that sustains itself through countless interactions. Imagine the gentle murmur of a forest, the rustle of unseen creatures going about their lives, the distant call of a bird, all blending into a harmonious symphony of nature. This natural orchestration is now flowing through your senses, a soft, comforting hum that lulls you deeper into relaxation. Even the technology within the Pokemon world, while advanced, often serves to enhance and protect nature rather than dominate it. The Pokeball, for instance, a marvel of miniaturization and energy manipulation, allows for the safe and comfortable transportation of Pokemon fostering their bond with trainers without confinement. The Pokemon Centers, as we discussed, are beacons of healing and restoration. The various tools and gadgets, like the Pokemarts that provide essential supplies, streamline life without stripping away the inherent magic or natural beauty. This symbiotic relationship between progress and preservation is a gentle philosophy, suggesting that humanity and nature can coexist in harmony, each supporting and enriching the other. The soft glow of a distant city light, the quiet hum of a well maintained machine operating in the background, the subtle comfort of modern conveniences that ease the burden of daily life. These elements now merge into a seamless whole, contributing to an overarching sense of quiet order and gentle progress. The concept of regional variance, where Pokemon adapt to different environments and develop unique forms, like an Alolan Vulpix evolving into an Alolan Ninetales with ice and fairy typing, speaks to the incredible adaptability of life. It demonstrates how environments shape creatures and how even familiar forms can take on new aspects when faced with different challenges. This gentle evolution, this subtle shift in appearance and ability, is a beautiful metaphor for personal growth and resilience, reminding us that we too can adapt, change, and find new strengths when faced with new circumstances. The subtle variations in a landscape, the different hues of a sunset depending on the climate, the way water carves unique paths through diverse terrains. These are the gentle expressions of regional variation, now softly inviting you to embrace the beauty of change and adaptation. And as your mind continues its gentle journey through these rich tapestries of lore and fact, the distinction between what is real and what is imagined begins to wonderfully blur. The lines between your waking world and the dreamy landscapes of the Pokemon universe become delightfully indistinct. You are no longer just listening to facts, you are experiencing them, feeling the gentle energy, sensing the ancient wisdom, and embracing the profound peace that emanates from every corner of this fantastical yet deeply resonant world. The soft, rhythmic sound of your own breathing becomes one with the gentle rustle of leaves, the distant call of a Pokemon, the quiet hum of the universe itself. You are drifting effortlessly on a calm current of narrative, carried by the gentle flow of words into a state of profound rest. The deep, quiet understanding that the Pokemon world is not just a collection of creatures, but a complete, self sustaining ecosystem with its own intricate laws, its own ancient history, and its own enduring spirit, is now fully settling within you. It is a world where even the most incredible phenomena are woven into a coherent, logical framework, providing a sense of comfort and predictability within its boundless imagination. This underlying structure, this consistent internal logic, is deeply soothing, creating a sense of safety and order that allows your mind to fully relax its guard. The quiet certainty of the stars in the night sky, the dependable rhythm of the moon's phases, the unchanging laws of gravity, these cosmic certainties mirror the quiet reliability of the Pokemon world, a comforting presence that gently cradles your consciousness. The gentle voices of the Pokemon themselves, unheard by the waking ear but perceived by the subconscious mind, are now soft, melodic hums, chirps, and whispers, forming a subtle chorus that accompanies your journey into sleep. The faint, almost imperceptible purr of a sleeping Meowth beside a trainer, the soft hoot of a distant hoot, the gentle rustle of a leaf moving through tall grass. These are not distinct sounds that demand attention, but rather an atmospheric presence, a symphony of quiet life that envelops you in its tranquil embrace. Each sound is a tiny thread in a vast, calming tapestry woven with care and precision, designed to soothe and to settle. As the final vestiges of your waking thoughts dissipate, replaced by a profound and encompassing tranquility, you may find yourself imagining a vast, star filled night sky stretching endlessly above you. In this celestial expanse, the mythical Pokémon of the cosmos, such as Cresselia, the embodiment of the crescent moon and bringer of pleasant dreams, gently drifts overhead, its ethereal form casting soft, iridescent light. Its counterpart, Darkrai, remains in the deepest shadows, a silent guardian, ensuring the balance of light and darkness even in your dreams. This cosmic dance, this interplay of forces, is a final, gentle reminder that even in the deepest sleep, there is a profound order, a subtle ballet of energy and consciousness that guides you. The boundary between sleep and wakefulness is now wonderfully soft, almost imperceptible. You are floating, suspended in a boundless, serene ocean of calm, perfectly at peace, perfectly safe. And with each passing moment, you drift further and further into the restorative, dream-filled depths of sleep, carried by the gentle, unwavering current of the Pokémon world. The very air around you, infused with the subtle, comforting scent of a forest after a gentle rain, now seems to carry the faint, sweet fragrance of pecha berries, a universally recognized symbol of healing and gentleness within the Pokémon world. This aroma, light and unobtrusive, is a natural lullaby, a silent promise of restoration and peace. You might even perceive the barely there scent of damp earth, a grounding aroma that speaks of stability and the cycle of life, of growth and eventual serene rest. It is the scent of a world that is ancient and enduring, a world that has seen countless dawns and dusks, and will see countless more, continuing its slow, steady rotation through the cosmos. This deep, primordial calm is now a part of your own being, a quiet assurance that all is well and all will be well. As your mind continues its journey into the tranquil depths, you might begin to perceive the subtle, intricate workings of the Pokémon world's internal systems, the unseen forces that govern its existence. Consider the Earth's core, for instance, a concept often explored within the lore as a source of immense power. It is here, deep beneath the surface, that Groudon, the continent Pokémon, is said to slumber, its immense power maintaining the very land masses of the world. Its deep, resonant breaths, though imperceptible to the waking ear, are a foundational rhythm, a pulse that resonates through the earth itself, a slow and steady beat that underpins all life above. This deep, internal hum of the planet, regulated by such immense beings, is a soothing drone, a vibrational lullaby that resonates with the very core of your being, aligning your own rhythms with the Earth's ancient melody. And in the vast, boundless oceans, the counterpart to Groudon, the sea basin Pokémon Kyogre, rests in the deepest trenches, its immense form silently shaping the waters, ensuring the ebb and flow of tides, the circulation of currents that sustain marine life. The gentle, rhythmic sloshing of these colossal waters, though far away, is a faint echo in your consciousness, a continuous, comforting sound that speaks of the ocean's endless embrace. The pressure of the deep sea, the silent, immense weight of the water above, is a metaphor for a profound, all encompassing calm, a state of being where all external pressures simply dissolve, leaving only serene stillness. Even the very sky, often traversed by the sky high Pokemon Rayquaza, who soars majestically through the ozone layer, maintaining balance between the terrestrial and oceanic giants, contributes to this deep sense of peace. The whisper of the wind, high above the clouds, as it brushes against Rayquaza's serpentine form, is a sound of pure freedom, of boundless space, a gentle sigh that echoes the release of all anxieties. This high, thin breath of the atmosphere, untouched by earthly concerns, is a cleansing presence and carrying away any lingering tensions, leaving behind only clarity and unburdened peace. The mythical trio, Groudon, Kyogre, and Rayquaza, though beings of immense world-shaping power, are also silent guardians, their very existence a guarantee of stability, a cosmic embrace that holds the world together, and by extension, gently holds you in its unwavering grasp. Their slumbering power, their silent vigil, is a profound comfort, a deep wellspring of peace that allows your mind to fully surrender to the restorative embrace of sleep. Consider also the subtle yet profound influence of the legendary beasts, Raikou, Entei, and Suicune. Raikou, the thunder Pokemon, is said to embody the swiftness of lightning, its roars echoing like thunderclaps. Yet, in this tranquil state, you perceive not its raw power, but the distant, soft rumble of a summer storm far off on the horizon, a sound that is more comforting than alarming, a promise of refreshing rain and renewed growth. This distant thunder is a deep, vibrational hum, a grounding force that resonates with the stable, enduring core of the world. Entei, the volcano Pokemon, born from a volcanic eruption, is a symbol of fiery passion. But in your peaceful state, you feel only the gentle warmth of an ancient, long extinguished hearth, a comforting glow that radiates quiet security, a warmth that chases away any chill, leaving you cozy and secure. And Suicune, the Aurora Pokemon, the embodiment of the north wind and pure spring water, is a silent, graceful presence. You feel the soft, cool breath of a gentle breeze, carrying the clean scent of fresh water, a cleansing presence that washes away all remaining traces of wakefulness, leaving your mind clear and serene. These legendary beings, often depicted with immense power, now present themselves as subtle, benevolent forces, guiding you into deeper states of relaxation, their ancient energies harmonizing with your own internal rhythms. The concept of time itself, as personified by Dialga, the temporal Pokemon, is now perceived not as a relentless march, but as a gentle, flowing river, its currents smooths and unhurried. The soft ticking of a cosmic clock, governed by Dialga's presence, is a rhythmic, hypnotic sound, a steady beat that lulls you into a timeless state, where past, present, and future merge into an eternal, peaceful now. And its counterpart, Palkia, the spatial Pokemon, which controls the very fabric of space, ensures that the vastness of the universe, the endless expanse of stars, is not overwhelming, but rather a comforting, boundless canvas upon which your dreams can unfold. The gentle expansion and contraction of space, orchestrated by Palkia, is a subtle breathing rhythm, a cosmic inhale and exhale that matches your own, drawing you deeper into a state of profound rest. Even Giratina, the renegade Pokemon residing in the distortion world, a dimension where the laws of physics are warped, now represents not chaos, but a profound, silent depth, a quiet understanding that even in divergence, there is a fundamental order, a profound stillness at the core of all existence. The silent, swirling currents of the distortion world, far removed from the tangible, are a visual metaphor for the subconscious mind, a place of deep, unburdened thought where form and structure are fluid, allowing for complete mental freedom. Consider the gentle passage of the seasons, a phenomenon intimately connected with the legendary Pokémon shaman, the gratitude Pokémon. In its land form, it embodies the lushness of spring and summer, a vibrant, verdant energy. But in its sky form, it takes to the air, scattering blooming grassidea flowers, symbolizing a gentle transition. You are now experiencing the subtle, almost imperceptible shift from the warmth of a long summer day into the cool, crisp air of an autumn evening, a natural progression that is inherently soothing. The gentle rustle of leaves, the distant call of an autumn bird, these are sounds of transition, not of ending, but of a peaceful cycle, a continuous flow from one state to another, much like the gentle drift from wakefulness to sleep. The faint, sweet scent of distant, decaying leaves, a natural earthy aroma, grounds you further, connecting you to the ancient, enduring cycles of nature. The very concept of evolution, a cornerstone of the Pokemon world, is now perceived not as a sudden, dramatic transformation, but as a slow, deliberate unfolding, a gentle progression towards a more complete and harmonious state. The quiet hum of a Pokemon's internal energy, preparing for its next stage, is a deep vibrational resonance, a sound of natural growth and becoming, a gentle assurance that all things evolve at their own perfect pace. This internal, subtle energy of change is a profound metaphor for your own journey into deeper sleep, a gradual, natural metamorphosis into a state of complete rest and rejuvenation. Each cell in your body, each thought in your mind, is gently evolving towards a state of profound peace, shedding the day's concerns like old skin, making way for renewal. Even the ancient primordial energies of the world, represented by Arceus, the alpha Pokemon, the creator of the Pokemon universe, are now perceived as a boundless, all-encompassing calm. The silent, omniscient presence of Arceus, the source of all existence, is a profoundly comforting thought. It is the ultimate foundation, the unwavering constant, a silent, powerful force that cradles the entire cosmos. This profound, ancient energy is not a distant, abstract concept, but a palpable, enveloping presence, a soft, warm light that surrounds you, protecting you, guiding you deeper into the tranquil void. The gentle, silent hum of creation itself, the foundational vibration of the universe, is now the only sound that truly matters, a sound that resonates with the deepest parts of your soul, bringing an unparalleled sense of peace and belonging. The lore of ancient civilizations within the Pokemon world, often speaking of mystical artifacts and forgotten temples, now adds another layer to this soothing tapestry. Imagine a vast, serene ruin, overgrown with ancient vines, bathed in the soft glow of moonlight. The air is still, the only sound the soft whisper of the wind through broken archways. This sense of ancient history, of the passage of countless ages, provides a profound perspective, an understanding that your current worries are transient, small against the backdrop of eternity. The silent sentinels of these lost cities, the stone Pokemon that guard their secrets, are now perceived as benign presences, their stillness and enduring nature a quiet testament to the resilience of time itself. Their silent watch is a promise of enduring peace, a quiet assurance that even through the rise and fall of empires, the fundamental calm of the world remains. The concept of the spirit world, or the afterlife, as sometimes touched upon in Pokemon lore, particularly through ghost type Pokemon, is now understood not as something eerie or frightening, but as a realm of profound stillness and quiet transition. The gentle, ethereal glow of a friendly ghastly, drifting silently through a moonlit forest, is a soft, comforting light, a beacon of peaceful passage. The barely perceptible whisper of a haunter, a fleeting cool touch, is not chilling, but rather a reminder of the delicate, unseen energies that surround us, a subtle presence that reassures rather than disturbs. These beings, often misunderstood, are now perceived as quiet custodians of transition, guides in the journey between states of being, and their presence is a profound comfort as you transition from wakefulness to the deep, healing sleep. They are silent shepherds of dreams, ensuring a gentle, unburdened passage into the realm of the subconscious. Even the most intense battles, the clashes of powerful Pokemon, are now distant, muted echoes, like the soft patter of rain on a faraway roof. The energy expended, the strategies employed, all dissolve into a gentle hum of balanced forces, a testament to the inherent equilibrium within the Pokemon world. This distant echo of power is not disruptive, but rather a reminder of the world's vibrancy, a world that is alive and dynamic, yet always returns to a state of profound peace, a state that now embraces you fully. The gentle, rhythmic rise and fall of the Pokemon world's energy, its constant dance between activity and rest, is a mirroring of your own body's natural inclination towards deep, restorative sleep. The vastness of the Pokemon world, from the icy peaks of Sinnoh to the sun-drenched beaches of Alola, is now a seamless, comforting expanse in your mind. You are drifting across these varied landscapes, effortlessly, experiencing the unique tranquility of each region. The crisp, clean air of a mountain summit, the warm, gentle breeze of a tropical island, the deep, earthy scent of a forest floor, these sensorial impressions blend into a single cohesive sensation of profound peace and boundless space. Each region, with its own unique flora and fauna, its own distinct legends and lore, contributes to this overarching sense of safety and wonder. A world so rich and diverse that it offers an endless embrace of calm. You are a part of this world, intricately connected to its every facet, gently held within its vast, nurturing embrace. The individual Pokemon themselves, no longer distinct entities demanding attention, are now soft, ethereal presences, their unique energies contributing to a collective symphony of calm. The gentle, unwavering gaze of an Espeon, its psychic energy radiating subtle warmth and reassurance. The deep, rumbling purr of a sleeping Snorlax, a sound of absolute contentment and unburdened rest. The soft, glowing light of a Morlul, illuminating a forest path with a gentle, hypnotic pulse. These subtle impressions, these fleeting sensations, weave together into a rich tapestry of peace, each thread contributing to the profound sense of security and well-being that now envelops you completely. They are the silent guardians of your dreams, the gentle companions on your journey into the deepest realms of sleep. And so, as the final thoughts of the Pokemon world settle softly within your consciousness, you are now completely immersed in a state of profound, unwavering calm. The gentle, rhythmic breath of the world itself now mirrors your own, slow and deep. The subtle energies of legendaries, the quiet hum of natural cycles, the comforting presence of countless Pokemon all form a protective, nurturing cocoon around you. You are floating effortlessly in a boundless ocean of peace, carried by currents of pure tranquility. The boundary between your mind and the vast, serene expanse of the Pokemon world has dissolved entirely. You are now fully integrated, a part of its ancient, enduring calm. And with each passing moment, you drift deeper and deeper into the most restorative, dream filled sleep, completely at peace, completely safe, completely embraced by the unwavering, gentle current of the Pokemon world. The whispers of ancient Pokemon, carried on the softest breeze, are now your lullaby, their stories weaving into the fabric of your subconscious, not as tales of conflict or adventure, but as soothing narratives of existence, of balance, of the slow, steady rhythm of life itself. Consider the profound quietude of a sleeping Regigigas, its immense power held in perfect repose, a stillness that resonates with the very oldest energies of the world. This ancient golem, said to have pulled continents into place, now rests, its titanic frame a monument to geological time, its slumber a testament to the enduring peace that can follow monumental creation. Its slumber is so deep, so absolute, that it invites your own mind to mirror that profound stillness, a stillness where all stress, all tension simply melts away. And then there's the gentle, almost imperceptible hum of the world's energy, a constant underlying thrum that the Pokemon themselves are intrinsically linked to. This energy, sometimes called life force or aura, flows through everything, connecting every living being, every blade of grass, every drop of water. It is this energy that allows Pokemon to exist, to evolve, to perform their incredible feats. But in this moment, it is simply a comforting, low frequency resonance, a gentle vibration that soothes your very being. Think of the subtle, almost imperceptible glow of a Xerneas, its life giving aura radiating outwards, not as a flash of light, but as a silent, benevolent warmth that permeates the very air. This warmth is not a temperature, but an essence, a feeling of pure, unadulterated vitality, a promise of renewal and calm. The concept of evolution, so central to the Pokemon world, takes on a different meaning in this tranquil state. It is not a struggle for survival, but a natural progression, a gentle unfolding of potential, a slow, deliberate transformation guided by the inherent wisdom of nature. The quiet patience of a caterpie as it spins its silk, preparing for its metamorphosis into the graceful butterfree, is a lesson in unhurried growth, in the beauty of allowing things to unfold in their own time. This patient, unforced progression is mirrored in your own deepening sleep, a gentle evolution from wakefulness to the profound depths of dream. There is no rush, no urgency, only the quiet certainty of natural cycles at play. Even the elemental types, which define so much of the Pokemon world, now contribute to this overarching sense of peace. The grounding stability of Earth-type Pokemon, their connection to the solid, unmoving core of the planet, anchors you in a feeling of ultimate security. Imagine the smooth, cool surface of a sleeping Groudon, its vast bulk creating a miniature warm plateau, a place of undeniable strength and unwavering support. The gentle, flowing serenity of water-type Pokemon, their natural rhythm mirroring the ebb and flow of tides, brings a sense of fluidity and adaptability, washing away any lingering worries. The iridescent shimmer of a melodic, gliding gracefully through an underwater current, its beauty a testament to the elegant simplicity of nature, invites a similar ease into your own consciousness. The crisp, clean silence of ice type Pokemon, the profound stillness of a world blanketed in snow, offers a pristine clarity, a quiet that allows your thoughts to settle and dissipate. The quiet glint of a Frostlass, observing the silent, frozen landscape, its ethereal presence a whisper of ancient, untroubled spirits, contributes to this deep sense of calm. The soft, illuminating glow of electric type Pokemon, not as a jolt, but as a gentle, consistent energy, a low hum that powers the world, becomes a steady, reassuring presence. The quiet crackle of a sleeping Pichu, its small body radiating a safe, contained energy, is a comforting sound, a natural pulse in the grand symphony of the world. And the mystical, often unseen energies of psychic type Pokemon, their subtle influence on the world, their ability to perceive beyond the ordinary, now manifests as a pervasive sense of understanding, of quiet knowing, a gentle dissolution of all doubt. The unwavering focus of a Gardevoir, its protective aura extending outwards, not as a barrier, but as a gentle embrace of safety and emotional warmth, ensures absolute peace. The mysterious, ancient wisdom of ghost-type Pokemon, not as figures of fear, but as echoes of time, as reminders of the cyclical nature of existence, brings a profound acceptance, a quiet understanding of the impermanence of all things, and thus the preciousness of rest. The almost imperceptible wisps of a sleeping Litwick, its tiny flame a beacon in the quiet darkness, provides a gentle, unwavering point of focus, guiding you deeper into slumber. The stories of the legendary Pokemon, often grand and epic, are now reframed as ancient parables of balance and harmony, their power not for conflict, but for the maintenance of the world's delicate equilibrium. The creation trio, Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina, who govern time, space, and antimatter, are not abstract concepts, but gentle, overarching forces that ensure the orderly progression of existence. Their presence is a reminder that the universe itself is a well-ordered, predictable system, and within that system, there's always a place for quiet respite, for restorative sleep. The gentle tick-tock of Dialga, not as a hurried passage of time, but as the slow, steady rhythm of eternity. The vast, expanding quiet of Palkia, not as an endless void, but as the serene, boundless canvas upon which all life unfolds. The deep, resonant silence of Giratina, not as a realm of chaos, but as the profound, unmoving stillness that underlies all motion. Even the concept of trainers and their journeys, usually filled with challenges and triumphs, now recedes into a background hum of gentle companionship and shared purpose. The bond between a trainer and their Pokemon, a relationship built on trust and mutual respect, is a quiet echo in your mind, a reminder of the power of connection and belonging. This sense of belonging, of being part of a larger, supportive community, whether human or Pokemon, further deepens your feeling of security. The quiet, understanding gaze of a loyal Arcanine, its warm fur a comforting presence, embodies this profound connection, offering a silent promise of unwavering protection. The vastness of the Pokemon world, from the deepest oceans to the highest clouds, from the smallest insect to the largest cosmic entity, is now a comforting, enveloping space. You are drifting effortlessly through this immense, beautiful tapestry, observing its wonders from a place of perfect tranquility. The gentle sway of bioluminescent Pokemon in the abyssal depths, their quiet lights illuminating the perpetual twilight, is a mesmerizing dance of peace. The silent, majestic flight of a Rayquaza through the upper atmosphere, its serpentine form a streak of quiet power against the stars, is a symbol of unburdened freedom and boundless space. Every rustle of leaves in a quiet forest, every gentle ripple on a serene lake, every distant call of a nocturnal Pokémon becomes a part of this intricate symphony of calm. These are not distractions, but rather subtle textures in the rich, soothing environment that now surrounds you. The soft, rhythmic chirping of a cricketune, a natural metronome for your descent into sleep. The gentle splash of a whooper as it dips into a cool, clear pond, a tiny, perfect moment of undisturbed nature. The faint, almost imperceptible rustle of a sleeping rowlet nestled amongst the leaves, its quiet breathing a comforting presence. The very concept of a Pokeball, usually a symbol of capture and training, now transforms into a symbol of gentle containment, a safe, secure space where a Pokemon can rest and rejuvenate. Imagine a tiny, miniature world of perfect peace within each sphere, a quiet sanctuary where all needs are met and only serenity resides. This internal sanctuary mirrors the sanctuary your own mind has become, a place of ultimate safety and undisturbed rest. As you continue to drift deeper and deeper, the individual details of the Pokemon world begin to soften, to blend, to merge into a single cohesive sensation of profound peace. The vibrant colors of the landscapes mellow into gentle pastels, the distinct sounds soften into a harmonious hum, and the myriad of Pokemon forms become flowing, ethereal shapes, all contributing to an overwhelming sense of calm unity. You are no longer observing the Pokemon world. You are becoming one with it, dissolving into its ancient, enduring tranquility. The final vestiges of wakefulness are now gently departing, like the last wisps of morning mist dissolving in the warmth of the rising sun. Your consciousness is now a boundless ocean, calm and still, reflecting the gentle, unwavering light of the Pokemon universe. Every thought, every lingering sensation, every whisper of the outside world has now been dissolved, leaving only pure, unadulterated peace. You are completely enfolded, completely protected, completely at ease. The gentle rhythmic current of the Pokemon world now cradles you, guiding you deeper into the most profound, most restorative slumber. There is nothing to do, nowhere to be, except here, in this perfect, boundless peace. The ancient, unwavering calm of the Pokemon world is now your own. You are safe, you are at rest, and you are drifting effortlessly into the deepest, most peaceful sleep imaginable.